We are counting down the top 10 supermarket secrets that could be shaping your family's diet in ways you would never expect. From sugary breakfast staples to hidden ultra-processed ingredients and store layouts engineered for impulse buys, these entries reveal how even products labelled healthy can put Australian households at risk. Which everyday item started this pattern? Let's begin with number 10. Bright boxes with cartoon animals and bold promises of whole grain goodness fill the cereal aisle, but a closer look at the labels tells a different story. Many kids' breakfast cereals sold at Woolworths pack more than 25 grams of sugar per 100 grams, matching or even beating the sweetness of biscuits and desserts. Some of the most popular brands list sugar as the second or third ingredient, right behind corn or wheat. These cereals are marketed straight to children, with colourful mascots and games on the box. But the sugar content can rival that of a chocolate bar. For parents, checking the sugar per 100 grams on the nutrition panel can reveal just how far these breakfast foods stray from a healthy start to the day. Flavoured yogurts line the dairy aisle with promises of calcium, fruit and lunchbox appeal, but the numbers on the back tell a different story. Many of these tubs and pouches contain 10 to 15 grams of sugar per 100 grams, about 3 times more than plain yogurt. Labels often list fruit concentrate, sugar and thickeners right after milk, while the front shouts about strong bones and no artificial colours. Plain yogurt usually has just milk and cultures, while flavoured versions can include a dozen ingredients. For families, that means a product sold as a healthy snack can deliver as much sugar as a dessert, hidden behind a health halo. Flip over a typical muesli bar pack from Woolworths, and the ingredient list can stretch to 20 items or more, far beyond the handful needed at home. Instead of oats, honey and nuts, the label reads glucose syrup, maltodextrin, vegetable oils, emulsifiers, and a parade of sugar aliases such as invert syrup and fructose. Some bars list 4 or 5 different sweeteners before you even reach the grains. Compare that to a homemade bar with just oats, peanut butter, dates and seeds, 5 to 8 familiar ingredients. The packaged version reads more like a chemistry experiment than a snack, engineered for shelf life and texture, not real nutrition. Protein snack bars crowd Woolworths' health food shelves, promising muscle support and guilt-free energy in bold lettering. But behind the high protein claims, the ingredient lists stretch on: whey protein isolate, soy protein isolate, hydrolyzed collagen, polydextrose, and a string of sugar alcohols like maltitol and sorbitol. It is common to count 15 or more ingredients, many with numbers or chemical names, all engineered to deliver texture and shelf life while keeping sugar totals low. The sweet taste comes from sugar substitutes rather than fruit or honey. Some bars boast 16 grams of protein per serve, but that protein comes from isolates, far from a handful of nuts or seeds. When the first 5 ingredients read like a chemistry set, the ultra-processed reality is hard to ignore, no matter how healthy the front of the pack appears. Plant-based ready meals in the chilled aisle promise a healthier, more natural choice, but the ingredient lists tell a different story. In a Curtin University study of supermarket own-brand chilled meals, including those labelled vegetarian or plant-based, 94% were classified as ultra-processed. More than half failed to meet the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating standards for a healthy meal, despite leafy green branding and buzzwords like meat-free or source of fibre. These meals often rely on reconstituted plant proteins, starches, and sauces thickened with gums and emulsifiers, delivering a portion that looks wholesome but is built for shelf life, not nutrition. When a single ready meal can contain 20 or more ingredients, the gap between the image of fresh vegetables and the reality of ultra-processing becomes hard to ignore. This category closes out the product half of the list and raises the stakes from snacks to full meals, showing how ultra-processed foods shape what ends up on the dinner table. Checkout lanes and end-of-aisle hot zones turn every grocery run into an obstacle course of temptation. At Woolworths, almost 80% of checkout display space is filled with chocolate bars, sugary drinks, and salty snacks, products that nutritionists classify as unhealthy. End-of-aisle hot zones are no safer. 80% of these prominent displays also feature at least one unhealthy item, often at a deep discount. Research from the Food Environment Dashboard shows that 9 out of 10 staff checkouts offer at least one unhealthy food or drink, making it nearly impossible to pay for groceries without being exposed to these options. Even recent Woolworths reforms, like pledging 80% healthier checkout shelf space, have not eliminated impulse buys because chocolates and confectionery still crowd the lanes. This high-exposure store design ensures that ultra-processed foods are not just available, but unavoidable, especially for families shopping with children. Weekly catalogues and bright price tags promise savings across the store, but the biggest discounts often land on sugary drinks and snacks. In Woolworths' national catalogues, nearly half of all promoted beverages are sugar-sweetened, while unhealthy foods make up a larger share of advertised specials than healthier choices, 43% versus just over a third. The mechanics are simple: deep discounts, multi-buy offers, and bold shelf talkers make it cheaper and more tempting to grab soft drinks, chocolate, and salty snacks. They are a routine part of the shopping experience, pushing high sugar, high salt products into baskets as everyday buys. The economic logic is clear. Ultra-processed foods with long shelf lives and higher margins get the spotlight, steering choices through the power of price. Woolworths' influence on household diets goes far beyond what is visible in the aisles. As one of two supermarket giants controlling about 2/3 of Australia's grocery spend, Woolworths acts as a gatekeeper for what families bring home. Its own brand products, everything from breakfast foods to snacks and ready meals, fill the shelves in every store. But behind the familiar green logo, a less obvious pattern emerges. Almost 2/3 of Woolworths' own brand range are classified as ultra-processed foods. That is not just a few sugary cereals or snack bars. About 63% of their private label portfolio, according to a 5-year Food Switch review, fits the definition. These products are engineered for long shelf life, consistent taste, and maximum convenience, but often rely on refined starches, added sugars, oils, and a cocktail of additives. With such a large share of the weekly shop made up of these processed options, Woolworths quietly shapes the everyday diet of millions, normalising ultra-processed foods as standard fare in Australian homes. Shoppers scanning Woolworths' chilled meal range often spot a Health Star rating badge, sometimes 3, 4, even 4.5 stars, plastered across packs of pasta, stir fries, and plant-based bowls. The Health Star rating system is meant to help families make healthier choices at a glance, yet the numbers do not always tell the full story. In a Curtin University analysis of supermarket own-brand chilled meals, 81% scored a pass of 2.5 stars or higher. But nearly all of these meals, over 90%, were classified as ultra-processed, built from reconstituted proteins, refined starches, and a cocktail of additives. These products look healthy thanks to their star ratings and leafy green packaging, but the ingredient lists reveal a different picture. Long and complex, engineered for shelf life, not nutrition. Relying on the Health Star alone can give a false sense of security, making it easy to miss the ultra-processed reality behind the badge. For families, it is a reminder to look past the stars and read the details before trusting a health halo. Ultra-processed foods now account for more than half the energy Australians buy from supermarkets, around 55 to 56% of the average household shop. That means every week most families are bringing home products built for shelf life and convenience, but high in added sugar, salt, and refined ingredients. Research links these diets to higher rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Australian adults in the highest group of ultra-processed food intake show greater weight and waist size and a 26% higher risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who eat less. But changing this pattern does not require a total overhaul. Small swaps can cut daily sugar and additives without giving up convenience. Instead of flavoured yogurts, choose plain and add fresh fruit. Swap out sweetened cereals for whole grain oats with berries. Trade muesli bars for a homemade mix of oats, nuts and dates. Pick whole grain bread over white and plain roasted nuts instead of processed snack bars. For lunch, try leftovers or a simple salad with chickpeas rather than a packaged ready meal. Shop the outer aisles for fruit, vegetables and plain dairy, where ingredient lists are short and familiar. Reading the ingredient list and nutrition panel before buying, aiming for fewer additives and less sugar per 100 grams can make a real difference over time. Treat ultra-processed snacks as occasional, not everyday, essentials. These changes, repeated week after week, help shift taste preferences back toward whole foods and lower the risk factors linked to Australia's rising rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Across all 10 entries, one truth stands out. What looks healthy on Woolworths' shelves is often engineered for profit, not nutrition. This is not just clever marketing, it is shaping Australia's health, one shopping basket at a time. The real power is in everyday choices. Read the labels.